Is the United States on the verge of a new military conflict in the Caribbean? Tensions between Washington and Havana have officially reached a boiling point, with the Cuban government accusing Secretary of State Marco Rubio of spinning a dangerous web of lies to justify a military intervention. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you these deep dive reports on the stories that matter most. The situation exploded this past Thursday when Cuban Minister of Foreign Affairs Bruno Rodriguez took a hardline stance against the latest narrative coming out of the State Department. For weeks, the discourse surrounding Cuba's role in Western Hemisphere security has shifted dramatically. Marco Rubio, recently appointed as a top architect of American foreign policy, has been vocal about his concerns regarding Havana's influence and its alignment with other adversaries of the United States. However, according to the Cuban government, these claims are not just inaccurate, they are a calculated fabrication designed to set the stage for war. Rodriguez didn't mince words. He categorically rejected the idea that Cuba poses a legitimate national security threat to the United States. Instead, he framed the current administration's stance as a manufactured crisis. His statement was stark. The U.S. Secretary of State lies once again to instigate a military aggression that would provoke the shedding of Cuban blood. It is a chilling charge, and one that echoes the long, troubled history of U.S.-Cuba relations. But why now? To understand the gravity of this, we have to look at the broader strategic map. The U.S. has been increasingly concerned about the presence of foreign powers and adversarial intelligence networks in the Caribbean. Rubio's team argues that Havana's current trajectory makes it a staging ground for threats against the American mainland. But from the perspective of the Cuban Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this is merely a pretext. They argue that the United States is using the national security label as a blank check to justify aggressive actions, potential sanctions, or even kinetic military intervention. This is a dangerous escalation because of the optics. When you have a high-level official like the Secretary of State painting a country as an active threat, it creates a momentum that is hard to stop. Once the public narrative shifts to national security, the policy toolkit changes. It moves from diplomacy and soft power to military posture and naval maneuvers. This is exactly what Cuba fears, that they are being set up to be the next major theater of conflict in an era of global instability. So, what does this actually mean for us? For the American taxpayer and the average citizen, this represents a significant shift in foreign policy priorities. We are moving toward a more interventionist stance in our own backyard. If this rhetoric continues to harden, we could see a complete breakdown in any remaining channels of communication. This could lead to further economic isolation for Cuba, increased military spending in the Caribbean, and the very real risk of a regional flashpoint that drags other international players into the fray. The international community is watching this closely. Critics of the current administration's foreign policy are asking whether this is a genuine response to a shifting security environment or if it's a return to Cold War-era brinkmanship. Are we entering a new phase of global conflict? Or is this just standard political theater escalating out of control? We want to know what you think. Is Marco Rubio right to take a hard line on Cuba because of their regional influence? Or is the Cuban government correct when they claim this is a dangerous path toward unnecessary military aggression? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to see how you feel about the direction of our foreign policy. The stakes here are incredibly high, and the rhetoric shows no sign of cooling down. As we move further into this administration, we will continue to monitor these accusations to see if they transition from words into action. Stay informed, stay critical, and keep watching. Thank you for tuning in to this analysis. I'll see you in the next one.